This is a Black Nouveau web exclusive. To avoid a repeat of the April election in which the city only had 5 voting sites open, there was a push for more absentee voting. The city is expecting 80% of voters to cast their votes absentee. Joining us to talk about the process is Milwaukee Common Council President Cavalier Johnson.
Hey, thank you, James, for having me. I'm glad to be here with you on Black Nouveau.
Great. So how do I request a absentee ballot?
Well, voters across the city of Milwaukee should have received or will be receiving relatively shortly a postcard in the mail from the Milwaukee Election Commission about the city's Safe Vote initiative. And that is a direct result of what happened in April with the 5 voting locations that were available. We want to make sure that all of our citizens in Milwaukee have the opportunity to vote in the safest way possible, and that's voting by mail. So all 255,000 some households in the city of Milwaukee should be receiving a postcard in the mail about the safe vote, and it'll give you all the instructions that you need in order to request a ballot for voting via the mail. You can call the Election Commission and they can work with you that way. You can go on to the My Vote website, or you can stop into one of our libraries that are participating and get assistance that way as well.
Does it matter if I'm a first-time voter?
No, doesn't matter if you're a first-time voter or anything like that. Anybody in Wisconsin can request an absentee ballot. You don't need a reason why, as in some other states, you need to provide an excuse, medical or otherwise. In Wisconsin, that's not a requirement. And that's why we're encouraging everybody to utilize that and make sure that they get a ballot and do it early so that they can be counted and vote in August as well as November.
If I request an absentee ballot, how long should it take for it to come in the mail, and how long do I have to return it?
As I understand it, it shouldn't take very long for that to happen. I know that I was just talking to somebody just recently who did receive that Safe Vote postcard, went online to My Vote, requested their ballot, got it only days later, and was able to send it off in the mail just soon after that. So it should take less than a week, as I understand it, for that ballot to hit your mailbox.
So President Donald Trump has been very critical of absentee voting. He said that it could lead to a lot of voter fraud. Is there any evidence of that here or anywhere in the U.S. that you could point to?
Not in any substantial way. I know that the president has tried to claim that this is a major issue, even though he himself recently voted absentee by mail at his residence in Florida. Is criticizing the opportunity for other Americans to have the opportunity to do the same thing, especially in light of the fact that we're in a global health pandemic with no national response led by his White House. But to answer the question about whether or not there's some large-scale voter fraud when people vote by mail, that's not the case. According to the Milwaukee Election Commission, that's less than 1% of votes that are cast.
So how do you guarantee that your vote has been counted if you vote absentee? How do you know?
One of the other things that happened as a result of the April 7th election is our election commission, working with some of our other partners at the Wisconsin Election Commission, have worked to have intelligent barcodes attached to the ballot mailing, so people are able to not only order their ballots to vote by mail, but they can also keep track of it, just like you could a package. Making sure your package gets delivered to your house, you can make sure that you can track via the smart barcode system, track and follow the entire process for your ballot to make sure it gets not only from the mailing point, but to your home, obviously to you, and then back to the Election Commission to be counted.
You guys said that you want to increase voting by 80%. Does absentee voting really increase voting?
Well, I can tell you that one of the reasons that the My Vote website had the problems that it did in April is because it's a statewide system, and it's only there to accommodate, or at least was only there to accommodate, less than, I believe, 100,000 absentee votes for the entire state of Wisconsin. But we had over 1 million people that wanted to vote absentee. So given the opportunity to vote in this fashion, it seems that the numbers of people participating in elections jumps up. And that's why you see other states and communities across the United States having this as the default setting. So if you go to Oregon, and I believe some other states out west, I think including Utah. They use this same sort of method where people who are registered to vote automatically receive a ballot sent to them via the mail so that they can be engaged in the process. It also builds off some other things that we have been interested in trying to introduce here. I certainly have introduced legislation in the past calling for voters to be registered before they even turn voting age so that we can get them in the process. I've also called for universal voter registration, just like they do in some of these other states, so that we can make sure that every single person in a democracy has the opportunity to have their voices heard.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for taking this time for us. And people should get out and request their ballots.
Absolutely, James. Thank you for having me. Appreciate having the time.
Thank you. Take care.